How we doing, everybody? All right, let's continue on in First Peter chapter 2. Falling behind a little bit. This is Wednesday's Bible study, and it is Thursday night. Had a lot going on in personal life, but getting caught back up. And he is the stone that makes people stumble, the rock that makes them fall. They stumble because they do not obey God's word, and so they meet the fate that was. Okay, well, people can say, well, that's the fate that's planned for them. But the fate was planned for them from before the foundation of the world, whereunto they were appointed. Much better. Much better. A stumbling block, a rock of offense, even to which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. I mean, do you see how clear that is? That goats are appointed to that. There's nothing they can do about that. Now I'm going to go to the New Living and see how that reads. But you are not like that. You know, somebody that was appointed to a second death and judgment. For you are a chosen people. Love it. Even in the New Living. Nice job. Watered down version. Easy to read and understand. You are royal priest, a holy nation, God's very own possession. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. As a result, you can show others the goodness, the goodness of God, for he called you out of the darkness into his wonderful light. Once you had no identity as people. Now you are God's people. Once you received no mercy. Now you have received God's mercy. Dear friends, I warn you as temporary residents and foreigners to keep away from the worldly desires that wage war against your very souls. Don't worry, if you're a sheep, you'll win that battle. If you're a goat, you never will. Be careful to live properly among your unbelieving neighbors. Then, even if they accuse you of doing wrong, they will see your honorable behavior, and they will give honor to God when he judges the world. They'll be weeping and gnashing their teeth. For the Lord's sake, submit to all human authority, whether the king as head of state or as officials of, in other words, don't rob banks just because the world's evil. Well, it's all corrupt money. I'll take it for myself. For the king has sent them to punish those who do wrong and to honor those who do. It is God's will that your honorable lives should silence those ignorant people who make foolish accusations against you. I'm going to read a little bit into this in the. I don't need to read the bottom. It's kind of a misleading long story about, do what the authority says, which in times past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Dear beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from the fleshly lust, which war against the soul, having your conversion honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they shall behold, glorify God in the day of visitation. All right, let's move on to Daniel. Yeah, 6 verses. Therefore, Daniel went unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon, bring me, Daniel, in before the king, and I, Daniel, will show unto the king the interpretation. I'm just making sure you know who's doing the talking here. Then Arioch brought Daniel in before the king in haste and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king have demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to King Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the later days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. So in other words, I'm about to tell you. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets, God, maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. We'll get to that tomorrow. Love you very much. Ask questions anytime.